So I wasn't going to do this video. I've done this topic before, and quite honestly, I don't really enjoy doing it, but it's something that inevitably I do need to talk about when it comes to Magic, because it's at the forefront of people's minds. The perpetual hype cycle and the bombardment of so many products. If you're looking to pick up sealed product or singles, use the link in the description below, the code Kenobi at checkout to get 5% off your order to help support the show. And don't forget, I'm streaming a live AMA tomorrow on the 23rd of February over on Whatnot. So if you want to follow me over there, use the link in the description below, get £10 off your first purchase from me or anyone that you buy from on the platform. It's basically eBay meets Twitch in many ways. To fill you in on where we're at with Magic now, if you are a bit more of a casual or a bit less invested, we had All Will Be One come out recently. Some of the product isn't even fully out yet. March 3rd is the release of the complete bundle, which is like a special bundle version of All Will Be One that's late to the shelves. And we've already had previews for March of the Machines on Sunday, which was going to lead me to make this video where I'm like, oh boy, we've only been like, what, 2 weeks out from All Will Be One? Pre-release events were on January 27th through to February 2nd, which is about 20 days ago from recording this video. And the tabletop paper release was on February 10th, so we've had the cards available to play with for 12 days. If you include Arena in that conversation, it's a bit longer, it's about 15 days, about 2 weeks. And let's be honest, a lot of Magic now, especially with newer sets, is played on Arena. But then we had the March of the Machines and Aftermath, which is a second set after March of the Machines that is storyline linked. We had that all announced on Sunday during the Pro Tour. And I got pretty excited. I think a lot of the March of the Machine stuff looks really good. Looks very fan servicey, Thalia riding on Gitrog and all that. But I'm hyped and excited for it. That's why I didn't want to do the video absolutely bashing on the whole like continued perpetual hype season, because it does feel like the foot was off the pedal of the gas for at least the beginning of this year. And then I was sitting down to have dinner with my wife last night when I realised there was an announcement for more previews and more hyped stuff. It was some previews for the coming sets after March of the Machines. It was essentially a stream showing us off some of the key art and the product details for the Lord of the Rings sets going straight to Modern, and is showing up on Arena, so that we weren't sure of until now, as well as Commander Masters. And then on top of that, we also have Shadows of Innistrad Remastered, which is a non-paper, digital-only re-release of Shadows of Innistrad and Eldritch Moon to bring Arena's carpool up towards Pioneer. Explorer is currently Pioneer Light with cards missing, and they're building towards it. So we had cards and art and products revealed for 3 more things on this stream. Now, if we're completely honest, the stream yesterday was primarily aimed at letting retailers know dates and times and stuff. It showed us the dates for all the previews and things like that as well, and a lot of it won't start. We've got some starting in March, some starting in May, so we have got like some gaps now, supposedly, where we're not on a constant churn of new things being shown to us. I guess it just feels like more of bombardment than the usual, because we had stuff on Sunday at the Pro Tour. Now, the Sunday Pro Tour announcements were incredibly hype, but they were so hype at Magic Con Philadelphia / the Pro Tour, if you didn't know there was a Pro Tour one, they were so hyped that they overshadowed the fucking Pro Tour. My feed was full of people talking about new cards and exciting stuff, and no one mentioned that Reed Duke won a Pro Tour, which used to be quite newsworthy, but it was overshadowed. In some ways, I find it bizarre that they would choose to overshadow the Pro Tour like this. Now, Seth also posted about Saffron Oil, the guy with a much worse beard than me. Size is not the important thing, right? It's not all about your size, it can be your girth, it can be how well kept you are too. He said super hype for March of the Machines, not sold on during the final of the Pro Tour and a weekish after Phyrexia released, being the best time to start previewing the set though, and I agree wholeheartedly. Aaron Forsyth, a prominent figure at Wizards of the Coast, said we want Pro Tours to happen soon after sets come out, and we want Pro Tours to happen at cons, and people that go to cons want sneak peeks and previews from the source. It's early the norm, but may become the new norm. So basically, what this is saying is we observe your criticism, but it doesn't matter, because this might become the new norm. There's been complaints that there's not enough time to savor things, sets don't last, story beats don't last, and we just move on to the next. We've just had Jace, the main character of Magic, give or take, get Phyrexianized, essentially be killed off. And before we know it, we've got previews for the next set. We've seen the death of the Kenriths in the next Throne set, well ahead of the Throne set, well ahead of seeing if they even get cards in Aftermath or March of the Machines. And before we can fully process that, before some people have had a chance to check out spoiler videos for myself or Goldfish, whoever else is covering it, or see it on Reddit or whatever, before that happens, we then have art from the Lord of the Rings set. We then have the fact that a card is making Mox Opal on Arena, but Mox Opal isn't legal, so that has to be explained to people. We have reprints of Ragavan announced on the Sunday that will be going into Historic, but that conversation is sort of stilted by another discussion around the modern legality of Lord of the Rings. It's not a massive moral panic or outcry, but it is kind of tiring that it happens so regularly. And this is coming from someone who the news cycle actually positively helps, because I have things to talk about on the regular. I can talk about the previews today. This video itself could have been the preview video, if you will, but I decided instead to talk about the nature of previews, the nature of the new norm being slam bam, thank you ma'am, I hope you're excited. Now, Aaron Forsyth's point makes sense. Pro Tours should happen soon after the sets come out. I think it's much more exciting to have professional Magic be about new formats that are being explored, whether that be limited or constructed formats with new cards. Absolutely, 100% agree. I think it's a great stance to take. And Pro Tours happen at cons? Yeah, okay, I think that works too for the most part. Of course, you've got to be careful not to overshadow your Pro Tour with the convention itself, which has kind of happened this time on social media. And then people at cons want sneak peeks and previews. Sure, I get that. But there's sneak peeks and previews, and then there's literally revealing story beats from the next set, including team-ups of fan-favourite characters that will absolutely dominate the discourse, dominate the conversation around Magic for several days. The memes were about Thalia and Gitrog. They're about Yargle and Multani. Nothing about your Pro Tour competitive Magic. This is the biggest blunder for me here. The regularity of previews and the idea that trying to be involved with all of Magic is actually a completely and utterly it's an impossible task. You can't do it anymore. Magic is not a game that you are engaged with every part of, because there's just too many formats, too many things happening, too many things getting released. But I do want paper Magic and the Pro Tour and organised play to be hype again. I actually didn't realise the Pro Tour was this weekend at Philadelphia until it was happening, because there was no talk of it anywhere online in spaces that I saw, and I'm terminally online and terminally looking at Magic. Someone came into a call on my Discord recently. I was playing some League of Legends with a load of Magic players, essentially. There was about 6 of us in the call, and a 7th person joined and asked what everyone thought of the Pro Tour. 3 of the people in the call didn't realise our Pro Tour had been on. They are distanced from Magic because Magic has been this burnout thing for them, because a lot of people are feeling this way. I see it in my comments all the time. I see it in people unsubbing saying they can't watch anymore. I have people who watch and so they don't play anymore. People burn out from Magic. But these people that are easily a target demographic that you could get back into the game if you had a good competitive scene, these people aren't even being marketed to somehow. The Pro Tour didn't really tick any of the boxes for getting people engaged or excited about Magic, primarily because it wasn't advertised, and secondarily because it was absolutely overshadowed by previews of cards that essentially get the Commander crowd frothing at the gash. And bearing in mind, I am in that Venn diagram in the middle. I should care about the competitive play and organised play and paper play and the Venn diagram of Commander, but the conversation was absolutely dominated by the new cards that are exciting, and again, primarily, let's be honest, they're going to be exciting for Commander players. Come Tuesday after the Pro Tour now, we've got Commander Masters being talked about. Magic is such a comprehensive and wide-reaching game at this point that I guess there are just multiple buckets of multiple people it has to appeal to, and that's why we have so many things being thrown at us at all times. We have these fancy legends and nostalgia bait on the Sunday. We have a Pro Tour happening that was badly marketed in my opinion, and then we come to the Tuesday, we've got Commander Masters, we've got the idea of pushing a Pioneer up to be a Pioneer on Arena, Explorer becoming Pioneer, and we also have alchemized versions of the Phyrexian cards being shown off as well, which obviously affects things like Historic Brawl and Gladiator, and there's just all these different groups of people all looking to the same sources for information. So if you wanted to be trying to be part of multiple buckets, multiple parts of the community, you do feel like there's a lot to keep track of, to the point that you just give up keeping track of some of it. And that's the thing as well, because perception is key. It's how people feel. Like, I can make this video and tell you that actually, in reality, hardly anything was shown off yesterday. We had 2 alchemy cards, arguably one that summons another one. We saw 3 cards from that are going into like Pioneer Light into Explorer through the remastered sets, and we saw 2 reprints from Commander Masters alongside a lot of key art. So hardly anything really got shown yesterday, but that's not how it feels. It feels like we're all still reeling from extremely huge, jumping the shark, some are arguing, moments on Sunday, and then come Tuesday we've got another weekly MTG just giving us a load of stuff to look at. And I mean, what's the alternative? They don't stream every week, they stream and don't talk about new things. I guess that doesn't really fit their news cycle either, but I do think it's creating a perception where people hyperbolically say they don't know what's going on anymore. And to be fair, they don't in certain parts of Magic, but I guess that's the point, right? You don't need to know what's going on in every part of Magic, but they need to change that mentality and that attitude, I guess, before doing this thing where they bombard us with releases that everyone feels like, at least the old Vanguard like myself, feel like I need to try and keep track of, because that's how Magic used to be. Magic has changed monumentally over the last 5 years, both in design philosophy, attitudes towards marketing it to us, and then a global pandemic transformed multiple industries, including trading cards, collectibles, and the gameplay side, the organized play side of Magic 2. I think the audience still hasn't caught up to that. There's a lot of new people coming in who have no fucking idea that any of this is even being said. They get it all tangentially through news sources like their friends, people at the local game store, the local playgroup, or maybe even social media influencers that they might stumble across on platforms that algorithms like YouTube. But the irony is, I haven't finished doing my All-as-One stuff. I've got a gameplay video coming out this week for All-as-One, and I wonder if that's not even going to be something that people want to click on anymore, because everyone's too driven by the hype of a Jeweled Lotus reprint, Lord of the Rings key art, or whatever the fuck it was that was revealed on Sunday. I like a constant news cycle, but it still feels like it's a bit too much and pretty heavy-handed. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm not trying to create a circle jerk. I'm going to try very fucking carefully about how I frame this conversation in the title and the thumbnail as well. I'm not really sure exactly how I'm going to do it, because I'm not trying to provoke pitchfork grabbing. I keep saying this in videos where I talk about criticisms that aren't things we need to demand to be changed. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.